Insurance fraud in the UK has hit epidemic levels. It's costing us around £2 billion every year. That's almost £6 million a day. Deliberate crashes, bogus personal injuries, even phantom pets. The fraudsters are risking more and more to make a quick killing. And every year it's adding over £50 to your insurance bill. But insurers are fighting back, exposing around 14 fake claims every hour. Armed with covert surveillance systems,
that's a subject out the vehicle,
sophisticated data analysis techniques, and a number of highly skilled police units. They're catching the criminals red-handed.
Just don't lie to us.
All those con men, scammers, and cheats on the fiddle are now caught in the act and claimed and shamed. Coming up, an opportunistic fraudster sees the London riots as a chance to cash in.
The rioters weren't anywhere near his premises, and Mr. Patel even managed to get the timing slightly wrong as well.
One lady brushes up on her Italian from the comfort of her armchair.
We strongly believe that the medical report was written utilising an online translation system.
And Thames Valley Police break in on another suspected crash for cash ring.
All right, go. Last chance. Please, open the door now, last chance!
Back in the summer of 2011, the UK was hit with some of the worst riots in a generation. It's thought as many as 1,500 people were involved in 5 days of public unrest, causing millions of pounds worth of damage to buildings, businesses and homes. More than 5,000 crimes were committed in that time, and the insurance industry saw thousands of claims, costing around £200 million.
The riots caused misery to hundreds and hundreds of businesses and individuals. Shop fronts were damaged, businesses couldn't trade, there was looting. As a result of the riots, Allianz Insurance dealt with 350 claims, and we'd paid over £11 million in claim settlements.
The burning shops of South London became the iconic images of the riots. Local business owner Abid Patel contacted Allianz after his premises were targeted by the rioters.
Mr. Patel reported that in August 2011, his laundrette, shopfront and washing machines inside had been damaged by rioters during the London riots.
Outnumbered by an angry mob, Mr. Patel had to witness firsthand the destruction caused to his premises.
On the day in question, Mr. Patel decided to work late, and whilst working in laundrettes, he alleges that London rioters came, damaged the shop front and got inside. Being afraid, he retreated to the back of the premises, and subsequently the rioters ran amok within the laundrette and damaged 11 washing machines.
After such a terrifying ordeal, Allianz was keen to get the claim settled, but the company didn't just reach for its checkbook. Despite the huge volume of claims, each one was still investigated, and the insurer discovered some dirty laundry.
A number of concerns were raised. Mr. Patel had already previously submitted a claim for damage for washing machines in the laundrette only 6 months prior, which was never paid because Mr. Patel wasn't able at that time to produce documentation. This time round, when he was in the back of the premises and the rioters had left, he didn't actually call the police, and that concerned us.
And there were other mistakes in the claim.
There were some unusual aspects to the claim. The documentation that we received from Mr. Patel didn't add up. A lot of handwritten invoices, and when we tried to contact some of the companies, we couldn't do so.
The insurers decided to send out an investigator to the claimant to delve further.
While the investigator was there, he attempted to call one of the alleged companies that provided an invoice, and when he did so, the actual landline in Mr. Patel's laundrette rang out at the back of the premises. At the time, the investigator thought that highly unusual, so he did try that again, and he disconnected, rang again, and the landline rang out. At that point, Mr. Patel withdrew the claim.
Realising Mr. Patel's fraud, the insurer thought it was time to hang him out to dry.
We made a referral to IFED, the Insurance Fraud Enforcement Department. Subsequently, IFED raided Mr. Patel's home address and seized his computer. And on that computer, we found lots of evidence suggesting that Mr. Patel had actually created and falsified the invoices and estimates.
By trying to get one over on the insurers, it seemed the claimant had got himself in a spin.
I think the biggest mistake he'd made was that he'd got his location and timing all wrong. When we contacted the police, they were able to confirm to us that the rioters they weren't anywhere near his premises, and Mr. Patel even managed to get the timing slightly wrong as well.
The claim would have cost the insurance company £16,000, but the fraudster's antics didn't stop there.
As well as the claims submitted to Allianz, Mr. Patel had made claims to other insurers that they were near to settlement. That was for another £16,000. And when the police raided and took his computer, they found evidence that Mr. Patel was already in the process of making even more claims to more insurers.
Mr. Patel was found guilty of 7 counts of fraud by misrepresentation. He was given a 16-month suspended sentence.
Mr. Patel's attempt at putting in a claim as a result of the London riots was cynical, but it was quite amateurish as well. What we found particularly irritating was the time spent dealing with Mr. Patel's fraudulent claim could have been spent dealing with the genuine claims and getting businesses back on their feet.
Still to come, a dog breeder is barking up the wrong tree with her paperwork.
The claim form and the receipt from the breeder were both in the same handwriting.
And a couple of claimants try it on with a whiplash claim.
One of the guys has told the expert that it's been an effect on his dancing.
During the summer holiday peak season, up to 20 million Brits travel abroad. From Bognor to Budapest, many holidaymakers want to play it safe, covering lost luggage to cancelled flights, even the odd medical emergency. So many take out holiday insurance to give that extra bit of protection.
Rome is a very popular holiday destination, particularly for people wanting to go for long weekend breaks, to visit the Colosseum, for example.
It was while sampling a bit of the Dolce Vita in Rome that one claimant contracted a nasty complaint.
We received a medical claim from a customer who had allegedly sought treatment in Rome for a urinary tract infection. It's extremely unfortunate if you become unwell overseas, and ultimately that's what your travel insurance policy is there for, is to cover you for genuine medical costs.
As you'd expect, all the paperwork to support the claim came from Italy. In Italian, or so it would seem.
Due to the international nature of our business, we do employ multilingual staff, and on this occasion one of our claims advisors was in fact Italian and realised that the medical report had not been written by an Italian.
Okay, yeah, we can get that investigation complete.
The insurer didn't believe a word of it. It was time to call the experts in.
Our Special Investigations Unit became involved after the claims advisor referred it through to us. We then made numerous inquiries regarding the documentation that we had received.
This wasn't even a flying visit. It turned out the claimant hadn't even left their own doorstep.
As far as we're concerned, the customer didn't even travel to Rome because the airline had confirmed the booking invoice was false. And the medical establishment also confirmed the documentation provided for the medical situation was in fact false as well.
The claimer clearly needed to brush up on their language skills.
We strongly believe that the medical report was written utilising an online translation system, because it definitely wasn't written by an Italian. I don't speak Italian. I find English hard sometimes.
Luckily, the insurers had someone in their office who did.
Our Italian speaker was the main reason that the matter was referred through to the Special Investigations Unit, because she noted the irregularities in the medical report.
Claim rejected, it was arrivederci for the claimant. And it's no surprise that the Special Investigations team haven't heard from the claimant in either English or Italian.
This just shows really that what lengths claimants will go to make a fraudulent travel insurance claim by actually falsifying the booking invoice and falsifying the medical documentation as well.
Crash for cash is becoming a major policing issue. Currently, UK police forces are investigating 110 of these scams across the country. Reports claim that 1 in 7 personal injury claims are linked to deliberate crashes. These collisions are designed to milk insurance companies of up to £30,000 per crash. It's big money, and it's a serious danger to the public. Britain's police forces are determined to put the brakes on this type of crime, and Thames Valley Police is no exception.
Police, open the door now, last chance!
Detective Inspector Louise Roddy from Force CID has a team of 25 officers dealing with crimes from murder to blackmail and fraud.
We work closely with the Insurance Fraud Bureau and the Crown Prosecution Service to make sure that we've got a watertight case to present at court.
That's our man, secure him!
But it's not just costing the insurers thousands. These criminals are putting innocent lives at risk, and people are getting seriously hurt.
These accidents are taking place on busy roads, and the offenders can't possibly know what the end result of their crime will be. So it really isn't a victimless crime at all.
With Crash for Cash on the rise, Force CID aim to track down these gangs.
I do think the action that we've taken also sends out a really clear message that Thames Valley Police aren't prepared to accept these types of offences in our area.
And the police will use everything in their power to bring these criminals to justice.
We will seek to disrupt any offenders, and we will target them if they continue to commit offences.
It's 7 a.m. Thames Valley Police are getting ready to raid a suspected Crash for Cash ring. It's thought the group has been prevalent in the area for the last few years, forcing collisions and faking injuries. Today we'll see the culmination of months of hard work.
Good morning. From my part, I'd just like to thank you all again for coming along today and helping us out with this operation.
DC Sandra Heather is a member of Force CID and one of the leading officers for today's raid.
The ultimate aim is to confirm, identify and arrest suspects in relation to the offences in order to secure and preserve evidence, recover property, including documented communication and computer equipment.
Police teams from CID, road policing and immigration have been working together, investigating a series of Crash for Cash crimes.
It's a police issue because of the scale of the offences. This is a series of crimes, and it does involve criminals that work together, and we believe that they're an organised group of criminals.
But equally, we want to send out a really clear message from Thames Valley Police that these offences will be dealt with robustly, that offenders will be arrested, and at any opportunity we'll prosecute them. Thank you.
DC Heather is in convoy with a team of officers, heading to raid the address of one of the suspected criminals involved with the Crash for Cash fraud. These officers are on the front line when it comes to the raid.
We'll see what we get when the premises. Hopefully they'll open the door, but we've got the equipment necessary if we need to force entry.
Method of entry officers are trained to knock the door down if the suspects don't cooperate.
This method of entry officers, first thing we're going to be looking to do really is kind of just step out of the way, because if we've got the equipment in hand, then really we need to secure that and just make sure that everyone else gains access and entry into the building.
Suited and booted to be on the front line. Once the officers have gained access, they then have to secure the property.
But once we've got inside, it's basically just covering all of the areas, making sure that empty rooms are classed as clear. Gather everybody into one secure area so that we've got the most effective way to search around the premises, and then begin the search.
Speed is essential, and the police can't waste a second.
Just pulling up this red car, mate. Right, go. Police officers, open up!
The suspected criminal could be destroying evidence or making a run for it, so they need to get in quickly.
open the door!
There's someone at the window. Open up!
There's someone inside, but the officers are running out of time and patience.
Right, last chance, last chance. Please, open the door now, last chance! Right, let's do it. Go, 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 go! Clear! That's our man, secure him, that's our man!
The suspected criminal is apprehended.
Just confirm his name and identity.
What's your name?
Yeah, that's the man.
Identified, it's time to put the handcuffs on.
You're under arrest on suspicion of fraud and false representation.
And we just hold him here till the arresting officers escort him out.
Arrested, the suspected fraudster is escorted to the patrol car.
Officers here have entered the premise and arrested a suspect from the address following the investigation in a crash for cash scams. The suspect and others are believed to have gone on to make personal injury claims, to which thousands of pounds have been paid out.
As he's taken to the station for questioning, the hard work in searching the house now begins. Later, the officers come across something suspicious.
That barrel can't get into it.
A suitcase that's kept under lock and key. They say that a man's best friend is his dog. But having a pet can be an expensive business, and veterinary bills can run into the thousands. For peace of mind, many have insurance to cover the costs. But one crafty claimer who thought she'd try and get one over on her insurer was barking up the wrong tree.
A claim came in for a very poorly mastiff with pelvic limb ataxia. Pelvic limb ataxia is a condition whereby you might find one or more of the legs or limbs paralysed, or difficulty in moving. There might be incontinence. So a distressing condition for the mastiff and a really distressing condition for the new owners. His name was Basil, and with the condition that it had, obviously we wanted to settle the claim as quickly as possible.
Even though the owner had only had the dog for a few weeks, the insurer didn't think there was anything unusual about the claim. That is, until further inspection.
One of the things that made us suspicious of the claim was when we investigated the claim form and the receipt from the breeder were both in the same handwriting.
The insurer contacted the claimer to see if they could explain.
When we probed the new owner and the breeder said the receipt had been written by her husband, and it was a bit of a fudge, which set alarm bells ringing.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Not convinced, the insurer approached the veterinary practices used by the breeder and the owner of the pet.
And the breeder's veterinary practice showed that Basil had actually been to see that vet 3-4 days before that Basil had sold.
This showed that the dog had a pre-existing condition before it was sold.
So the breeder knew there was a problem with the puppy. The breeder had said, when we spoke to them, that the puppy had left completely healthily, but obviously it hadn't. It had seen the vet beforehand.
This wasn't the only blunder the claimants had made.
The owner claimed that she hadn't met the breeder until she went to collect the puppy. The breeder said that she was friends with the owner. On the receipt and the claim form, they had very similar handwriting. The owner said that her husband had written the claim form out, and so that there was it wasn't quite her handwriting, but it's identical to the breeder's. So it's very clear that there was something amiss with the claim.
The dog owner and the dog breeder's stories just didn't add up.
When challenged, the breeder became very evasive. She also met a lot of our questions with silence, which is indicative that there's a problem.
Caught out, the breeder held her paws up.
Eventually, she admitted that the condition was pre-existing, and when pushed further, she withdrew the claim and said, "I'll meet the cost of the veterinary fees myself."
The insurer knew it was a shaggy dog story.
This was an example of a breeder who got a puppy that she couldn't sell because it was poorly, and she'd asked a friend to pretend to buy the puppy, insure the puppy, and then claim for the veterinary fees that the breeder couldn't claim for because the puppy was already ill.
The breeder had made a real howler and is well and truly in the doghouse. Over 4.5 billion bus journeys are made every year in Britain, and almost 2/3 of travel on public transport is made on the Great British Bus. So it isn't very surprising that bus companies see their fair share of accidents.
On the 20th of November 2010, at around about 4:30 in the afternoon, a van has overtaken one of our buses on the driver's side, and the wing mirror of the van has just come into contact with the side of the bus. It's a minor glance, really, no real signs of any movement or need for the bus driver to swerve or brake in any way.
It was just before rush hour, and there were a few passengers on the bus.
On the upper deck, there are two chaps sat at the back of the bus. They're generally sitting there. One's on his phone, one's chatting away rather animatedly to his friend. Annoyingly, he's got his feet on the seat, but they both seem to be very relaxed at that stage.
Thankfully, whenever there's an accident, Lee has an army of spies to tell him what really happened, in the form of onboard cameras.
When you take into consideration that we're running both single-deck and double-decker buses in our services, you can expect there to be between 12 and 16 cameras on each of those buses, covering the inside and the outside of the bus.
From looking at the CCTV, the accident really appeared to be a very minor one.
This was certainly a very low energy impact. There's certainly no jolt that you can see from the footage, and I wouldn't have expected anyone to be injured in this situation.
Hold on, let's have another look.
You do see some general swaying, but it's nothing out of the ordinary that you or I would experience in travelling on a bus on a daily basis.
With no one hurt and very little damage, there didn't seem to be anything to worry about.
The minor nature of the impact is actually borne out by the fact that there was only around about £132 worth of damage caused to the bus. The damage to the van was so negligible that the chap didn't even bother claiming for the damage.
However, some passengers saw it as an opportunity to take First Group for a ride.
We received 2 injury claims from each of the guys on the bus. They've both got soft tissue injuries.
The 2 passengers persisted with their claim, but were in for a bumpy ride.
All told, these claims would be worth in the region of around about £3,300 each, plus costs. And a medical expert has said they're going to take around about 6 to 12 months for both of those injuries to heal. One of the guys has told the expert that he has been unable to lift anything heavy for about 6 weeks. And in addition to that, it's been an effect on his dancing.
The claimants were obviously hoping to do a quick step to the bank.
Naturally, when the claims handler is presented with these claims, the first thing he's going to question once he's seen the CCTV footage is how on earth could these 2 guys have even been injured?
The camera never lies, and there was no footage to support their claim.
You would expect to see a sudden jerking movement to support the claims that they were making, probably the neck going forwards and backwards, but there's no movement at all in this situation. So it's difficult to see how they were actually injured.
Looking back though, there did seem to be some sudden movements.
So there was a very fast movement when the chap jumped off his seat to look out the window and see what happened. The second quickest movement was probably both of them getting onto their mobile phones immediately. I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I would probably say that at the end of each of those phones was a no-win, no-fee solicitor. But that's just my opinion.
Not believing a word of it, First Group turned the claim down.
Were they to come back in the future, there are 2 things I would probably say is, first one, not to make a claim for excessive jolting causing you injury on a bus where the company you're claiming against is filming you. And secondly, keep your feet off the bus seats, please.
Right, go.
Thames Valley Police are in the middle of a raid on the home of a suspected criminal in a major crash for cash gang.
Police, open the door now, last chance!
With no response, the team had no option but to force entry.
You're under arrest on suspicion of fraud and false representation.
Arrested, the suspected criminal has been taken to the station. The police must now concentrate on finding evidence, and a systematic search begins.
We take a room each, 2 further rooms at the back. Are we happy with the loft? Have we been up there yet?
Nowhere escapes the officer's attention.
See if there's bank stuff, phones, computers.
The police must go through the house with a fine-toothed comb. Any bit of evidence could crack the case, so they can't afford to leave any potentially suspicious documents behind.
Are you guys all right up here?
Yeah, he's got car insurance here.
Yeah, literally. You know, I appreciate there's a lot of paperwork here, but at first glance, if it's anything remotely to do with a car insurance, other vehicle documents, rather than sort of reading through it as such as you are now, just put it in a bundle. Any banking details, any driving documents, including the laptop as well.
Paperwork is key to this investigation, but searching the contents of the house can be a long process.
We've got a load of receipts related to pet receipts over a couple of years, an insurance policy document, and a few applications for private hire vehicles.
Digging out any potential evidence is just the tip of the iceberg.
The electronic equipment, so the iPads and the laptops, they will have to go off to our high-tech crime department, and it can take anything from 6 to 12 months for that to be processed. In terms of all these documentary material, depending on how many officers we have dedicated to it, it could take a number of days.
Everything is bagged and tagged to take back to the station later. The officers are a tenacious bunch, and suspicions are raised when they find a locked suitcase.
Right, we're going to need to get into this. I'll go downstairs and find
got the bolt croppers in the van.
Right.
Nothing will stop the police from searching for evidence.
Okay, which one's locked?
And their persistence usually pays off.
2 wedges of cash. So it's at least a couple of thousand in each pile.
DC Heather is immediately informed of the cash find.
2 quantities of cash, which obviously will have away.
Yes, yes, please.
And a number of passports. Do you want those away or just get them checked?
I think get them checked initially.
The money is now being confiscated under the Proceeds of Crime Act, and the emphasis is now on the suspected fraudster to show it hasn't been acquired under criminal activity.
These were search warrants, just details why we could enter the premises, under what offences, and for the items and property that we'd be looking to search. When we finish here, the occupier is entitled to a copy, and we just have to detail the property that we're lawfully seizing.
Thames Valley Police now have to prove that these documents link the suspected gang to the crash for cash crimes.
The evidence that we've gathered and the early stage of our investigation is quite strong. It's good, credible evidence, and then we will progress it from there and see where it goes. I'm really, really pleased with today's result.